Welcome to A Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Certified Financial Planner Ron Corser. Ron Corser and Associates are planning today for the potential of tomorrow.
And welcome in the program. This is your Course to Retirement Grand Rapids, your resource for a common sense approach to planning, to navigating this complex financial, sometimes frustrating world, is Certified Financial Planner, CFP, Ron Corser, President and founder of Ron Corser and Associates. And today, Ron, we're going to talk about having a plan in your hands. Having that Course to Retirement plan can help make the financial world maybe a little less frustrating and confusing.
Well, good morning, Peter. Good morning to everybody listening to today's program. I know sometimes when you hear people in our profession say, well, you need a plan, you need a written plan, everybody nods their head and says, yep, I agree with that. And I think I have one. I hope I have one, or I do have one. There's a whole gamut there. So we're really going to focus on this actual plan. And we call it in our firm, your Course to Retirement Plan, to get something in your hands that's in writing, that makes sense, that shows you exactly where every dime is going to be coming into your checking account every month. And to do something which is kind of unique perhaps to our firm. What do I mean by that? All the internet stuff that we hear and we read in books always talks about your number. And that number is always $1 million, $2 million, something like that. You go on any kind of website, our calculators, you put in all your data, and it comes out and says, well, you need $1.5 million to retire, and you only have 400,000. So everybody throws up their hands, goes into the dark corners of their cellar and their basement and starts to curse the darkness. And I don't want you to do that. Your real number is just the opposite, I think, of what the industry tries to push on us. And that is, it focuses on answering a really simple question. How much income in retirement do you need to retire? It's a whole different question than what kind of large number do I need in retirement? And it's based on Social Security income, pensions, and investment income. It's a combination of those three. And so what we do when we say we're going to put a Course to Retirement plan in your hands is we focus on every source of potential income in retirement to try to get to your number. And your number is, how much money do I need in retirement to retire? So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's more than just, yeah, I think I have a plan. It's really focusing on the nuts and bolts of it. Because like anything else, if you focus on the nuts and bolts, you eventually come up with something that's really sturdy and solid, something that you can use and it'll help you. So if you're interested in this, listening to today's program, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, www.roncorser.com. Put your questions in there and we will respond to you just as soon as we get the invite from you. So again, that's 616-301-2581. And I hope this showed. If you're driving, please don't pull over to the side of the road and be late going to church, because I know I get comments from, Ron, we listened to your program on the way to church. And I think, okay, that's good. But always call us with questions. We'd be more than happy to help. It's what we do. We want to help you become successful in retirement.
Again, the number 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. More than just a conversation. If you'd like that Course to Retirement, concise, consolidated action steps to achieving your financial goals. If you'd like that plan in your hands, pick up the phone, give CFP Certified Financial Planner Ron Corser a call, 616-301-2581. And Ron, to quote author and motivational speaker Greg Reed, a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. He lays it out pretty plainly. There are some steps there that we need to take in order to turn a dream or our vision of, in this case, retirement into a reality. And the process that you go through to design those specific Course to Retirement plans really kind of follows along with Greg Reed's advice there.
It really does. And we talk about that dream and we talk about how do you put it into something that's going to make some sense. I always look back and say, well, let's think about how we plan vacations. And I'm going to use you as my prime example again. I doubt you're going to get up tomorrow morning and look at your wife and kids and say, we're going on vacation, pack your bags, we'll leave in an hour. and they're going to say, well, where are we going? I don't know yet. We'll figure that out, but we're going to get to the airport and we're going to go somewhere and have a good time.
My wife does not. She's not a fan of traveling that way, Ron. Not at all.
I
She's got to
don't
plan
know
every
many
detail.
people who are. So that's sometimes how we approach retirement, or that we think we should approach retirement. And it's not because we inherently think in the wrong way. We just don't have anybody to kind of lay out the guardrails and say, here are the steps we need to follow, the process we need to follow to get you to that point where you can answer that question, do I have enough income in retirement to retire? So we follow through on that. So we come up with what we call our course to retirement plan. We put that in your hands. It's a plan that very clearly in black and white shows you where all the dollars, where all the pennies are going to come from, the different sources of income, potential income, investment, pensions, all of those things in a very neat, concise, understandable plan. You know, we don't do this with 47 pages, 4-color glossies, and dazzle you with something or other. It's not going to work. It can be a very simple plan, but it's a very concise one that deals with real facts, real figures that focus on you, not what supposedly the general public does. So it's called the Your Course to Retirement Income Plan. We can put that in your hands. Give us a call at 616-301-2581, and we'll go forward. And also the thing is, sometimes when people think about planning for retirement, we've never been there. And I get that. I understand that. We've never planned for retirement within 2 years or 5 years because we've never been 2 years or 5 years away from retirement. Now, sometimes people have been, and particularly in this last year with the COVID, they've experienced a separation from service where the company has come to them and said, you know what, we love you a lot, but we can't go forward anymore. And if somebody's 5 or 8 years away from retirement and they don't have a preliminary plan in their hands, the question becomes, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Yes, I can get unemployment, but that's not going to solve the problem. So one of the important things for everybody to understand is it doesn't matter how far away you are from retirement. You still need a plan. And the plan has to be based on 2 ideas. What if this coming Friday is my last day of work? Where am I going to get the income to survive, to prosper, no matter what happens? And the second question is that going to be enough income? So here's how we handle this to get the course to retirement plan into people's hands. We make an assumption that says, look, let's pretend you're 50 years old. And this Friday, the company says, we love you, but not that much. We got to make some changes. So the question becomes, how am I going to make it through to, say, age 60? Yes, you're going to have to look for other work. But in the meantime, where are you going to get money that you need? Because when you're 50, you may have bills to pay. You may still have a mortgage. You may still be taking care of kids and all those things. So what we do is we say, let's pretend you're going to be done on Friday. What's your retirement plan look like? What's your course to retirement plan in your hands? Do you have it? And that'll tell you what is your number. It's based on that idea, that simple concept. How much do you need every month to maintain your lifestyle? And do you have it? Now, whether you have it or don't have it, I tell people it's good news. If you already have it, okay, you can rest easy and take a deep breath. If you don't have it, if you don't have enough income created to maintain your lifestyle, then you know you need a little more work to do. Both of those ideas make sense to people. You need to know it's not good or bad. It's just what is. It's factual. So if you want your course to retirement in your hands, and it is your course, it is you. It's not something that we just create for the world around us. It's based on your specific kinds of needs, your lifestyle, what you want to accomplish. Give us a call, 616-301-2581. We will help you. We will show you, and we will, if you want, you'll allow us to put your course to retirement income plan in your hands. You will be much farther ahead than most of the rest of the folks that are just working on a hope and a dream. A hope and a dream is a good start, but it's not a retirement plan.
Right. And get that plan in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. Get that course to retirement in your hands. It is broken down into simple, easy to understand language, easy to follow instructions, starting with a snapshot of where you are, and then lays out your goals and priorities and action items and a timeline over which you should be executing on those action items. If you'd like that plan in your hands so you can begin to make the progress that you need here in 2021 and beyond, pick up the phone, give certified financial planner Ron Corser a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, what you were just talking about there, it really echoed back to me a program that we had last year. You had this checklist, are you ready to retire checklist. And the number one question on that checklist was, how would you generate the income that you need if your paycheck stopped today? And that's what you're talking about there, that not everybody is immediately going to be completely ready to retire, but that's what that plan is designed to help us lay out. And we really have to know where we are now to chart out any course or map for where we want to get to in the future. I don't know the last time you've been to a shopping mall, but that's the best example I can think of. It's been a while for me, but whenever I went shopping, I always wanted to get in and out of the mall as quick as possible. So I always referred to that map right there by the door. And the first thing you have to look for is the red arrow, you are here, right?
Well, it's interesting. Whenever I do go shopping, I always know what I'm looking for, and I just want to get it and get out. I don't want to browse and go up every aisle and down every aisle. But when you think about it, when it comes to this plan, it's kind of like, where are you right now? It's a really simple idea and a simple question. Where are you right now? If you know that, we can help answer that. It reminds me of Yogi Berra's idea that says, where are you right now? It says, when you come to the fork in the road, take it. So here's where the plan comes into place, right? If you have that written plan, your course to retirement plan that focuses on you, when you come to that fork in the road, you know whether you should go left or right. You'll know that in advance of coming to that fork in the road. So it's like going to the mall. I'm reminded you of the other one, where when times were better and malls were open and there was this Christmas shopping that we just were doing other things, and somebody asked him about going to a specific place, and he says, nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
Yogi Berra was a guru, but well before his time. He
Well,
also said a dime isn't worth a nickel anymore, and that couldn't be truer than today.
Yeah, so the most important process, this thing is figure out where you are, create that your course to retirement plan that focuses on you. So when you come to that fork in the road, so to speak, you know which way to go on it. And that's what we talk about. That's why it's so important to think about this plan, not in a way that frightens you, not in a way that says, oh my goodness, it's too much to deal with, because I do hear that from folks we meet with, but say, here's what we need to do, whatever it is, this is what we need to solve. What's our number? How far away are we from it, or do we have it? And let's go forward. So if you'd like us to put your course to retirement, your plan into your hands, give us a call at 616-301-2581, and we can help you do that.
Well, Ron, that snapshot of our current situation, where we are, you are here, that step alone is worth the investment of time. Sitting down with a certified financial planner, a CFP, and getting an analysis of our current situation and getting that part in writing so that we know where we are, if we've made it, or how far we need to go, how much progress we need to make in order to make it. That part alone worth the investment of time. And again, no cost for getting that your course to retirement plan in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. Just pick up the phone now to get started, 616-301-2581. And of course, everybody is in a slightly different situation. That snapshot for you and for your neighbor is going to be different. That's why it's your course to retirement, individual to you. And then, Ron, we probably have different goals and aspirations than our neighbor as well. And that's sort of the next step. You are here, but then we need to define clearly where we want to get to. Another famous quote, the Cheshire Cat talking to Alice. He said, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Where do you want to go? Somewhere. Well, it doesn't matter much which road you take then, right?
Yeah. It's very true. It's kind of like what comes to my mind is, I don't know about you, but when I talk about our plans for the future, my wife and I have never been to a place in Michigan called the Keweenaw Peninsula. It's the uppermost northern part in the Upper Peninsula state of Michigan. So we're going to go there. That's one of the things we've planned to do, to drive there. Now, it's farther away than what seems like on the map. It's going to take more than one tank of gas. So it's like saying, okay, we're going to go there. We're going to leave tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and we're going to drive there. And I think I got enough gas to get all the way there. Well, do I know that for sure? If I sit back and say, well, this is how many miles per gallon I get on my car. This is how many gallons of gas in the car if I fill it up. Do some simple math and arithmetic. And this tells me clearly, yes, you can make it, or no, you're going to be stranded somewhere in the Upper Peninsula, 15 miles away from the nearest gas station. Either way, I need to know that number. Why? Because I will stop at a gas station well in advance of my getting close to running out of gas. It's the same way with retirement. If we know how far, if you think of your money as the gas in your car, if you know how far it'll take you, doesn't it make good sense not to run it to the very end and hope that you get there?
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you get there.
Right. I heard a story of a couple that was traveling through the Red Rock Canyon, or it was along one of, America's most beautiful scenic highways, I-12 or something maybe. And it's one of those ones where you get on the highway and it says no gas stations for the next 530 miles. And so the husband and wife sort of have a difference of opinion on whether to stop for gas before they start on that journey. And they spend, a whole lot of the trip watching the gas tank. And they've got a half a tank left. They've got a quarter of a tank left. They pull into the gas station at the end of the trip, and the husband said, "Hey, yeah, I was right. We made it." And then they pull up to the hotel that they were staying at, and they congratulate you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Welcome in. Did you enjoy the trip in? That's been rated as one of America's most beautiful scenic drives. How did you enjoy it? And they realized that they missed the journey because they were worried about running out of gas. And to me, that's like a lot of people when they look at that retirement account. We might miss the enjoyment of retirement if we are constantly worried about our tank running dry.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that's what happens. I'm reminded I had a husband and wife as a client once, and they had done an incredible job of accumulating. They had more than enough between pensions and Social Security to maintain their current lifestyle. And they had, frankly, they had done very well in the markets and everything else. And it was always interesting when I talked to them when we did our reviews. They were always deathly afraid of running out of money. They were depression kids, and they were always afraid. And I remember them asking me, "Ron, do I have enough money to buy a new car?" And I was stunned the first time I had it. I thought, you got enough money to buy the dealership. So after about 5 or 6 meetings, I encouraged them. I said, you can do this. So they went out and they bought a brand new car. And he came to our office just to say it, because I had asked him, I said, whenever you get this car, come and show it to me. And he did. They came and they showed me the car. It was a nice car, middle of the road kind of car, good car. And his response stunned me. He says, I got this car because you said we could make it. He said, but I didn't get the leather seats. I only got the cloth seats because I wanted to make sure I have enough money. And I just said, man, bless you. You did a good job. But it's that kind of concern and fear that really robs people of some of the joy of a day-to-day experience, either planning for retirement or being in retirement. So one of the key issues people down deep inside think about, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to have enough? That's what we do with your course to retirement plan that we put into your hands. We can answer that question of, are you going to be okay? Are you going to have enough? And are you going to make it? We can answer those 3 questions. So if those 3 questions are important to you, give us a call, 616-301-2581. We will help you answer those 3 questions and any other questions you may have. Because one of the things that I think about in my own life is I want to have a little bit of joy. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get. These are strange times we live in. But I want to be able to enjoy some things, not because I'm extravagant or not extravagant, but just to know, are we going to be okay? Are we going to be able to make it? And will we have enough? And in our own life with my wife and I, are we going to be able to take care of our children and grandchildren should, this world come to an end as we know it or whatever? We always look at ourselves as we're the last resort for our kids and grandkids. We're not necessarily concerned about a giant legacy, but with all the things going on in the world, I'm very concerned about my children, but especially my grandchildren. I sit in the office sometimes and talking to clients and people we meet for the first time. And it's amazing what this last year has done to the way we think. And a lot of us, and sometimes they'll express it before I will, Ron, it is good to be old. It is really good to be old. What does that mean? That means like we know what we've come through and we will look to the future. It's like we never anticipated what we think might happen. And by saying it's good to be old means we don't have to experience all of it, hopefully, if the Lord will come sooner than later. But it's a question that lingers with all of us. Are we going to have enough? Are we going to be okay? Are we going to be able to make it? And when we say it's good to be old, how are we going to deal with what we think is coming down the road? We can help answer those questions, and we can help give some confidence, this sense of potential security. Nobody can ever be totally secure, but potential security that not only are we going to be okay, but our children and grandchildren, Nancy and I look at it as we're the last resort for them. We're going to be able to help them. So one of the things we need to do is to say, yeah, I think we're going to be okay. So if you want that assurance, as best as we can provide it in an uncertain world, give us a call. We will put your retirement goals, we will put that whole plan into your hands. Call us at 616-301-2581 and we can help you.
Ron, I think that this is where your course to retirement is so specific to the individual, because I understand the sentiment that you are discussing here, but myself, I am 40 and I am an active planner and saver and investor. I'm trying to do the best things for my financial future. I've got a younger child, no grandchildren yet. So maybe my specific priorities are different than somebody else's. And that's where the conversation really needs to happen with a qualified, experienced financial professional, a certified financial planner like yourself, is that the snapshot of the current situation is going to be very different for different people. The goals that are discussed are going to be very different. And these are the steps in the process that you go through to arrive at the plan. Kind of the next step is, Ron, you're going to make recommendations specific to the individual to help them achieve and accomplish their game plan for retirement, their course to retirement.
It is different. I'm not going to focus on my own life, but I will give you a real life example. There was a time in my life where I enjoyed winter. Winter now every year becomes a little less wonderful to me. But why did I enjoy winter? I used to love to go skiing. I really got a lot of joy out of going skiing, and we took our kids and everything skiing and had some great experiences. But I've had over the last, say, 12 years, I've had 2 shoulder replacements and 3 back surgeries. Now, thank you, Lord, because this is great surgery. I'm able to sit up and take nourishment. And I'm not in, some vet's home somewhere drooling, waiting for my cookie. But what does it mean? Back then, I always thought, because I remember one time we were skiing out west, and I actually shared the chair with a guy who was in his 70s, and he was still a great skier. And I thought, man, that could be me. Well, I could probably still ski, but what's the concern of mine? Skiers have a tendency on occasion, even good ones, to wipe out.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that my body can take a wipeout. So my skiing days are behind me. But see, back then I was planning on being able to ski into my 80s. I didn't care. But something changed. That's the advantage of knowing what it is that we have to plan for potentially. Your course to retirement plan takes into those what if situations. What if this, then what if that? and we can help with a plan that makes some sense to people and clarifies the what ifs in life. So I'm not using me as a focal point, but I'm just saying some changes happened that now I have to adjust to. And I promise people out there that there are going to be changes that come about. We're going to go, wow, I didn't know about those. I didn't know how to plan for them. Now I'm really in trouble. And we can't foresee the future, but we can plan for some of the what ifs in life. And it's those what ifs, proper planning, that your course in retirement, when we put that into your hands, will help alleviate some of the concerns and fears maybe that you have, because it will deal with the what ifs. It will say, what if this, then perhaps that. It gives you flexibility so you're not caught off guard. If you want that kind of help, ladies and gentlemen, give us a call, please. 616-301-2581. We will create your plan for retirement and put it into your hands, black and white, written. It's a good plan. It's flexible, but it makes great sense to you when it comes to how are we going to live our life? We're going to live it with uncertainty and fear, or no, I think, the world around us we have no control over, but we're going to be okay. We're going to be able to make it. We're going to be able to take care of the important things in our life.
616-301-2581, the number to call, 616-301-2581 to get your course to retirement plan. Ron, as you were making mention of that individual in the excellent shape and health, couple examples came to my mind of Hollywood stars. A lot of times go through, some miraculous physical transformations to play a certain role. They have the help and assistance of a physical trainer, somebody who is experienced and has an expertise in getting certain results, and they make recommendations on their diet and their exercise routines. And similarly, doctors, maybe on a more routine basis or sometimes for more serious specific issues, make health recommendations. And similarly, with our financial health, you as a certified financial planner, you understand what it takes, and the recommendations are going to be to get somebody to their peak financial fitness, and to do so in a way that is efficient and will work for them with their habits and their routines. That's what the recommendation part of the planning process and of getting that course to retirement plan in our hands is really all about.
It really is. And I guess there's a lot of stories coming to my mind today, but one of them is one of my most favorite Hollywood stars was John Wayne, because he seemed to always be on the right side of that equation of good and evil. He was always reasonably successful. And in reading some of his life story, as he got a little older, one of the great problems he always faced was, okay, I got to lose weight now to get in shape for the movie. Except when he came to making the movie for True Grit, for which he ultimately was rewarded, one of the comments he made was, I'm going to be okay, and I don't have to lose weight to make this happen, because the character is an older character who's overweight with one eye. So it was kind of that, he needed help, but all of a sudden he got to the point, he says, you know what? I don't have to have somebody special. I don't need to go through that pain. And that's what a good retirement plan is.
Yep.
It gets you to that point where you don't have to go through that pain to get you where you want to go. So give us a call, 616-301-2581. We can share our stories about John Wayne if he was your hero in Hollywood like he was mine, but we can certainly create your course to retirement that makes sense to you.
Get that plan in your hands, ladies and gentlemen. Give Ron Corser a call. Certified financial planner, willing to donate his time if you're willing to invest, willing to help anyone who is serious about planning for their financial future, willing to get your course to retirement, a specific plan to achieve your goals, into your hands. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the priorities outlined and how you can work through the plan to achieve them in your course to retirement. And welcome back into the program, here with certified financial planner Ron Corser, Grand Rapids resource for a common sense approach to planning for our financial future. And on today's program, talking about Your Course to Retirement, the specific plan that Ron and his team will put together specifically for you, customized to you, and get that in your hands so that you can turn your dreams into an outline of actionable items, into a timeline, into a prioritized list of what you need to be working on in your financial life in order to accomplish your goals. If you would like Your Course to Retirement, that plan in your hands, pick up the phone, give a call now, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, concise, easy to understand language and action steps to achieve your financial goals. 616-301-2581. So Ron, we have this list of action items. We have the timeline of priorities that we've put together. What is addressed in this plan? What are some of the common themes that you see that you're helping people to work on?
Well, here's what we cover in each plan in terms of general topics, and then we adjust them to the individual, to the client. So we talk about income. What is your number? Do you have enough income in retirement to retire? The second one is investments. What kind of investment strategy makes sense given your current situation, the amount of income you need, and how you feel about the future, how you feel about the markets and those things. Those are important things to talk about. Then we talk about what's the tax implication of the plan, or what kind of tax rules or results that we have to deal with. We know taxes, how much we pay in tax may potentially go up. So how are we going to deal with that? Because right now we talk about we're in a low tax environment, that may change. How about healthcare? You know, when you get into retirement or you're getting close to retirement, you need to talk about, I got to have healthcare. So how am I going to get it? If you retire before age 65, Medicare is not an option. If you retire 65 and older, it is, but there's a cost to it. So how are we going to address those costs? And finally, is it important to leave a legacy? And here's what we talk about with legacies. It's more than just money. It's about values. So those are the 5 basic things that we talk about, and we take them one at a time and dig deeply into each one of them. We kind of create a funnel, and ultimately, if we get through this properly, and we can, and you give it enough time, we can develop your course to retirement plan based on those 5 issues.
Now, Ron, we've talked a lot already on the program about how specific and customized and individual your course to retirement plan is going to be for each individual. This is another area where I expect that to show and to hold true, because for one individual that may have amassed, had a business and they've got $15 million, probably the legacy, the estate plan is much more pressing and important than somebody with $500,000 or $1 million that's trying to make sure that they've got enough money to last them through retirement.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a good assessment of where we are. And that's why it's so different for everybody. There's no one size that fits all. That's why we say once we go through this process, and it is a process, it does take time. It's not something you do in 20 minutes. You get your retirement plan in your hands, and it makes great sense to you. So let's think about income, and we talk about this all the time. There's 2 approaches you can take in our industry in how you deal with this. One is that so-called 4% rule. What is it? That's the rule that says, look, whatever money you have in retirement, if you don't take out more than 4% every year, you're going to be okay and you'll never run out of money. I would tell people to be very, very cautious about that idea. So let's say you have that $500,000 and you're going to take out 4%, that would be $20,000 a year. Well, here's a question for you. What if, after taking into consideration Social Security income, pension income, you need $30,000 a year after tax for your income plan? Well, maybe that 4% rule isn't such a good idea, because the 4% rule says, well, if you take out more than 4%, you could run out of money. So one of the things we try to do is tailor that income plan to what your number is, to answer the question, how much income do you need in retirement to retire? It's the most important question we can ask somebody, and it's the most important question to have an answer to, because nobody is in a situation, unless it's you, Peter, and I've always joked about this, you have $10 million and you have a lifestyle that needs $1 million in retirement. There's not a lot I can do if you're not willing to adjust. And that's always up to you. But most people are willing to make some adjustments. So getting that income, my number down, so to speak, is very, very important. That's the first thing we do. We spend a lot of time on that. And that's what's based on the income plan.
As a financial coach myself, Ron, I remember a day young in my career where I was talking with an oncologist, a cancer doctor, and a deli manager from a grocery store chain. And I was, at the beginning of the day, much more excited about one than the other. Well, come to realize that the oncologist had a lifestyle that far surpassed the amount that he had saved for himself, where the deli manager essentially lived on less than half of his income, and Social Security alone was going to replace what he needed to survive. Plus, he had a surplus. And I realized that people's situations are different. You joke about my $10 million and my $1 million a year spending habit, but that's actually not outside the scope and the realm of reality for some people. And we do need to realize where maybe adjustments are to be made. And I think that this process that you're talking about here of getting that plan in our hands, getting our course to retirement in writing, would help somebody see where they are, where they need to go, what their goals are, clearly define those. And then here talking about what is addressed within that plan, those core steps that you're checking off the list are going to be important regardless of who we are, but different depending on who we are.
Yeah, it really is. That's why it's important to spend a lot of time with people asking a lot of questions. You know, there's no two people alike. We're all created equal, but we're all different in God's eyes. So why create the same kind of plan for you, for me, for everybody else? Because we're different. So that's why we do the income number. But then that's based and kind of leads us down the road to what kind of investment strategy should we use in retirement? And this one really is different for everybody. You know, I've run into people, particularly after what happened last year, that are very, very frightened about the future. And I've had others that says, well, the market bounced back, I'm going to be okay. You get the whole gamut. But understanding somebody's tolerance for pain when it comes to potential losses in the market, or understanding their tolerance for safety, is really important. And you can adjust the plan that will say, I need some of my assets allocated to a place where I cannot lose money. And maybe it'll go up a little bit of growth, and I'm willing to perhaps get over here where there's a little more risk to my principal, but I don't want to go crazy. That's an important consideration to have, and it takes time to develop. So we deal with the income, and then we deal with the investments. That what kind of strategy makes sense, and how is it going to work going forward? And we can actually, with the plan we create, we can put a real number to what kind of risk people are taking. So whether it's stocks, bonds, whatever we're invested in, we can show you statistically, so to speak, how much real risk is involved. Most times when we're dealing with people who come in for the first time, I'll ask them a real simple question, 2 parts to it. How did you come to create this kind of an investment strategy for yourself? And most of the time said, well, my advisor did it. And then the second question is a follow-up. I'll say, well, how much risk was in your plan? How much risk did he tell you? And he says, well, he said it wasn't too risky. I got some stocks and bonds. And my question then is, okay, it's not too risky. Does that mean in the next market correction, you will lose 5% of your principal or 55% of your principal? And most people haven't got an answer for that. And I understand that. So what we try to create is a situation, an investment strategy where we can answer that plan in the next correction. What will happen to your portfolio? It's really important to understand that so that you can, as I joke with some people, well, we've created this plan. Here's the upside, the downside. So when the market gets a little woozy and starts to correct a little bit, just kind of look at it with one eye closed. And don't worry, because we've talked about it. And if something major happens, we still can make adjustments. So those are important things. And then we move on to the next one. Look, when you retire and you have all your money in a tax deferred account, for every dollar you take out of it, who gets the first part of that dollar? And that's the Treasury Department, the IRS. Why? Because you've saved all your life in a 401k, IRA, tax deferred accounts. You've never paid tax on those accounts. So now you're going to pay tax on those accounts. So if you need $20,000 out of your tax deferred accounts, you're going to have to take out more than that because you're going to have to pay tax on the money first. So maybe depending on where you are, you have to take out 24,000 in this example where you have $500,000 to get 20,000. Well, that's a little more than that 4% rule. So what does that mean? Do you have an investment strategy that can sustain that kind of withdrawal rate? It's very important. There's no guarantees in life, but you can make it as firm and solid as humanly possible. So understanding the tax implications is important. And also thinking about, look, I'm part of the Ed Slott group, and people sometimes have heard on NPR, he's a great one for public radio and TV for generating revenue. And Ed Slott is the master at taxation and IRA, tax deferred accounts. And one of the things he's talked about for the last few years is taxes are on sale. Now that seems like, what are you talking about? Taxes are on sale. What does that mean? It means that we're probably in the lowest tax environment we're going to be in for the rest of our life. If taxes change, it means that it's not going to get lower, it's probably going to go up. So how are we going to deal with that? How are we going to deal with that 5 or 10 years down the road? That's why it's so important to ask that question now in creating your retirement plan, your way, in doing that. So we know that, okay, let's assume taxes are going to go up. What do we do? How do we deal with that? So it's an important question to talk about. As a firm, we tell people, look, I'm not a CPA, but I am a certified financial planner, and my partner, Nolan Gosley, and I understand taxation, and we can help with those questions, working with your tax person if necessary. We love doing that. So we can create strategies that not only give you the income you need, that do it in a way that's the most efficient way to deal with the taxes, to make it the best possible plan we can provide for you.
Ron, what you're talking about here, I mean, just identifying key opportunities that can help us to make further progress. And through Ed Slott, your affiliation there, I know that you help people a lot of times identify those opportunities to put their money to better use, to where they can keep more of it. And I've heard often, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Taxes often are the largest item, largest expense standing in the middle. So ladies and gentlemen, if you've already built up that large tax deferred nest egg and you want to look to identify strategies to help you keep more of it, to be more efficient with it throughout retirement, that's where the help, that's where the experience of a certified financial planner and an Ed Slott Elite IRA advisor like Ron Courser can pay off for you. It's part of your course to retirement, the plan that he'll put in your hands. So identify those key strategies, pick up the phone, request that now, whether it's just a couple questions to get started, or you would like to go through the process of getting that plan designed for you. Ron willing to donate his time and answer your specific questions and put that plan in your hands. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, I feel like I'm full of analogies today, but in the world of building structures in ancient times, even before like heavy machinery and the combustion engine and cranes, fabulous structures were built. The Great Pyramids, the Roman aqueducts, and they were built without those tools, without those heavy machines. They did have tools. And I guess that's my point here, is that those that designed and built those structures, they understood tools, and they understood where a specific tool could provide leverage. And to finish my analogy here, that's where you, as a certified financial planner, that's where we count and rely on your expertise, is that you help people identify those same financial tools that can provide us leverage with our money and help us achieve goals that maybe we never thought possible or just didn't know how to work to achieve.
That's a good point you make, and it is true. Nobody really understands how the pyramids were made. There's a lot of ideas of how they had, and it's always an amazing thing for me to think, they took all of this stuff and they built it. I have no idea how they did it. Nobody really does. But one of the things that's always amazed me is when we talk about what the Romans did. They were great builders in addition to always wanting to control the world. But there's still structures, aqueducts and things that still exist today, almost 2,000 years, that still stand the test of time because they understood the basics. And that's what we try to do, is deal with basics when it comes to retirement planning. So we've talked about 3 so far: the need for income to get your number. Do you have make sure you have enough income in retirement to retire? What kind of investment strategies make sense to you to help you give you future growth, but also to provide that income? And finally, what's the tax consequence of the plan? Do you understand that? Because you're going to pay tax. What about if taxes go up in the future? Have we addressed that issue? So those are the 3 things so far that we've talked about. And if you want this information, your retirement plan, put it in your hands. Give us a call at 616-301, and we'll help you with that. So let's go on to the next part.
Retirement. Get that in your hands. Yeah, get that plan in your hands. Your course to retirement. Once it's in your hands, Ron, there is a next part, because a plan without action probably isn't going to give us much result.
Yeah. So we've talked about three bases: income, investments, tax. And then we get to the fourth one, and everybody knows this is important. What are we going to do about healthcare? How are we going to do that? You know, if you stop work for any reason before you're 65, Medicare is not an option right now. So what are we going to do? If, on the other hand, you're going to work past 65, Medicare may or may not be an option. It doesn't have to be an option. Does it make sense? But we all understand that we need health care, and we need to be able to provide the coverage for ourselves that makes sense, not only to give us the best possible care, that's important, but also to make sure that we get the best solutions so that we don't run out of money because of a catastrophic healthcare event. And I'm not talking right now about long-term care. I'm talking about just a whole bunch of other stuff that can happen, you know, and I'll let everybody use their own imagination when it comes to that. So that's the fourth thing that's important in creating a retirement plan to put into your hands. Your course to retirement. We deal with income, investment strategies, tax implications of what we've done, and then what are we going to do about healthcare? And then finally, okay, there's going to be potentially, in a good plan, there's going to be money left over when you're not upright. What happens to that money? Where does it go? What do we do with it? Do you have charitable issues you want to give to? Do you have children you want to give to? Do you want to protect 1 or 2 children for any number of reasons? So that requires some planning. Sometimes people say, you know, when I'm dead and gone, I don't care. Let them deal with the taxes and any other problem. Okay, I can live with that. I understand that. Other people say, you know what? We have a prodigal child. I'm not sure if we leave them money, it's a good idea, but I don't want to disown them or disinherit them. How do we help? We can create a situation where you can kind of send a little bit of your legacy to that child in a rational way so that it doesn't harm themselves. You may have a special needs grandchild. That's the last place you want to leave money to directly because that may preclude them from ever getting government assistance. So this comes into the planning part. Even if leaving a legacy is not important to you, what I tell people is that if you die and you still have money left over, what's going to happen to it? You got a couple choices. You can give it all the way to the government, or you can give it all the way to people or charities. You know, you have to choose which one's important, and we can help with that kind of planning. And it doesn't mean you want to leave a big chunk to somebody, because I tell people, you've worked hard all your life. It's not a sin to want to enjoy retirement to the best of your ability. It's not a sin to want to say, you know what? I've never been around the world. I want to take that trip once COVID goes away. Yeah. Whenever that happens, you know, I'll bring several masks so that I don't run out, whatever you're going to do. So those are the 5 things we help deal with in a great plan. It's, do you have your number, your income number? What kind of investment strategies have you put in place? What about the tax implication of the things you've done? What's the plan to take care of healthcare? And I'm not talking about long-term care. That's a whole nother issue. Then the legacy issue. What happens when there's money left over? You know, everybody would like to retire. I think, you know, that last check that's written out of your investment account to the undertaker bounces. It's pretty hard to plan that close to.
Yeah,
the
you were
desk.
mentioning legacy, and that's the conversation I had with my dad. He said he was going to bounce his last check. I said that's kind of hard to time perfectly, and whether you have assets or you don't, you still end up leaving a legacy unless you work that out absolutely perfectly.
It is. And right now, when it comes to legacy planning for those folks who've been able to amass, some substantial retirement assets, a couple can shield off in terms of just moving to the next generation, almost $24 million.
Yeah, what 11 million a
Yeah.
piece, a little more
Yeah.
than that.
So what happens if the rules change? And a lot of people think they're going to change, that's going to be adjusted downward. So sometimes it might make some sense to take care of that plan sooner than later.
Sure.
So these are all the things that are addressed and what's in good order. And it makes sense. We put all of these together for your retirement plan, your course to retirement plan into your hands. And it's a good plan. It's focused on you. But the important thing is it's flexible enough to make adjustments for whatever's coming down the road. Give us a call, 616-301-2581. 616-301-2581. We want to help you. Please allow us to help you by giving us a call.
Well, again, I think, Ron, within the course of this plan, your course to retirement plan, you put in individuals' hands, you're giving them the snapshot, you're helping them identify their goals, but then through your experience and knowledge and perspective, identifying key opportunities, identifying planning insufficiencies, identifying underperforming assets, identifying risk exposure. These are all elements that somebody couldn't really get without going outside of themselves and to an experienced, qualified professional. And I think that's why this plan, your course to retirement plan, truly is different. With all of the different qualities that we've talked about today, this is not something that people are going to get from the big brokerage houses or from any other advisory firm throughout the state of Michigan.
Well, we like to think that way. I'm not so arrogant that I think, ours is the bestest, mostest. But what we do say is that your course to retirement plan is a bit different. You won't get this plan this way anywhere else. We really believe that, and we've been told that by people who've come to us and allow us to take them through the process, to going through those 5 different elements we just recently talked about. And understanding that everybody's different. No 2 plans are exactly alike. So our process is to identify the things that are important to you, because this is about you. It's not about me. This is not my money, I tell people. It's your money, and we have to be on the same page as you. It's very, very important. This is about you. So it's a plan that's designed to show you in writing in black and white how it works, how it takes care of a lot of the what ifs in life, how it deals with some of the uncertainty in life, because I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I can only guess, like all of us. And it gives you the idea very clearly of what steps do you need to take. Here's your course to retirement plan. Okay, you like it. It makes sense to you. It fits. Now, how are we going to implement it? What are the steps we need to take to put this plan together to work? And that's where we really take a hands-on approach with your help and with your approval to implement the plan. I'm always amazed. People come by and they'll say, well, we have an estate plan. And I say, congratulations, because a lot of people don't have an estate plan. It may or may not have a trust involved, but a lot of times people say, well, I have a trust and I have a will. And I say, well, okay, is this funded? And I get this kind of 100-yard stare. Funded? What do you mean? I said, well, what did the lawyer tell you when you did the estate? He said, well, to put everything in my trust. I said, so what does that mean? Well, everything's in my trust, including your 401k and IRA. Yeah. I said, you have to understand that what they're really saying is that ultimately you have to make the trust a beneficiary, either a direct primary beneficiary or a contingent beneficiary. Is your trust funded? And one of the things we find out is a lot of times people haven't what called funded the trust, meaning using the trust as something that will ultimately hold some of the assets when we die to pass on. And we can help with that.
Yeah. So Ron, the plan on the legal side had been created, but not well implemented in many cases. And you help.
Yeah, it can be a real problem. It can be, but that's one of the things we help people with. Even after they become clients, it's always something that we put on the top of the list and review. Do we have the right legacy plan involved?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today on the program with certified financial planner Ron Courser, we've talked about getting you your plan, your course to retirement. You have to have that plan in place. You must get a plan in order to get your financial life in order or make the most progress possible. And at Ron Courser and Associates, they help savers and investors throughout Grand Rapids and surrounding areas better determine their outcome and make their goals their reality through the planning process and through getting that concise, consolidated, easy to understand action plan, your course to retirement in your hands. If you'd like that plan, pick up the phone now, give a call. Certified financial planner Ron Courser willing to do the work to design that with you and help to show you how to optimize your results and identify the tools and strategies that can help you achieve your goals. 616-301-2581, the number to call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Get that plan in your hands. Get your course to retirement in your hands to improve your outlook into 2021 and beyond. And Ron, we always appreciate your insight and guidance in helping Grand Rapids area savers and investors make that happen.
Well, this has been fun. I enjoyed today. I like talking about how we can help people and the things necessary step by step to take. We can make it reasonably enjoyable, I tell you. Working with us is not like going to, get a root canal from somebody. It can be a lot more pleasant, but it gives you ultimately the satisfaction of knowing you really do have a real plan. You really do have something that makes sense for you. You really do have something that you can work with and hold tightly to. So give us a call, 616-301-2581. I want to tell everybody to have a blessed day, stay healthy and safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
Tune in to Ron Courser's full radio program, A Course to Retirement, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on WOOD, and visit roncourser.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Your Course to Retirement.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor.
Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group is solely an indication that the financial advisor has attended training provided by Ed Slott and Company, passed biannual examinations on material covered at conferences and in webinars, and met other membership requirements, and does not constitute an endorsement of any kind. Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group members pay a fee for the educational programs that allow them to be included in the Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group. Membership does not guarantee investment success. Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals or growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.